We hear that word entrepreneur thrown around all the time. But what does it actually really mean? Is it just about starting a business, or is there something more to it? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into the DNA of the entrepreneur. We're talking about the kind of person who doesn't just build a company, they literally change the world around us.
So, what really makes someone an entrepreneur? Is it having that one in a million idea, or is it about raising a ton of cash? Well, what we've found is that it's actually something way deeper. It's a whole different way of thinking, of acting, that just sets them apart. And that's the big question we're going to tackle today.
All right, so where do we even begin? Let's start with a simple definition. Except, and this is where it gets really interesting, there isn't just one definition. Nope. If you ask an economist, you get one answer. Ask a psychologist, you get another. And a management expert, a completely different take. Each one gives us a different piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so first up, the economist. For them, it's all about the what. They see an entrepreneur as this economic force. This person takes all the pieces, labor, materials, capital, and they mix them together in a brand new way. The result? Something that's way more valuable than all those individual parts. It's all about creating new value and, shaking things up.
But then you've got the psychologist. They're not so interested in the what. They want to know the why. What's driving this person? And what they see is this powerful internal force. It's this deep psychological need to achieve something big, to build something meaningful. For them, this isn't just a job. It's a calling. It's something they just have to do.
And finally, let's bring in the management expert. They give us the how. They look at an entrepreneur and see the ultimate strategist. This is the person who not only has that big, crazy vision, but also has the nuts and bolts action plan to make it happen. They're basically the bridge that connects that internal psychological drive with the actual real-world economic results.
And you know who ties all of this together just perfectly? The legend himself, Peter Drucker. He said, "Innovation is the specific tool of entrepreneurs." Just think about that for a second. It's not just about running a business. It's about actively seeking out change, seeing it not as a threat, but as an opportunity. At their very core, entrepreneurs are agents of change.
Okay, so if innovation is their main tool, what kind of mindset do you need to actually use that tool? I mean, what is going on inside their heads that lets them see a huge opportunity where most of us would just see a ton of risk? Let's dive into that. Let's break down how they really think.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here, with vision. And listen, this isn't just about having a good idea. It's about seeing a future that doesn't exist yet. It's being able to picture a totally different world, a new market, a better way of doing things, and holding on to that picture with just absolute crystal clarity, especially when nobody else gets it.
Now, having that vision is one thing, but making it real, that's like climbing a mountain. You need the right gear. And our sources point to 5 core traits. First, this unshakable self-belief, because you're going to face a lot of doubt. Then, a fierce independence, because you're carving your own path. You also need a relentless drive. That's the engine that pushes you through all the setbacks. Add to that a powerful sense of optimism to keep you going. And finally, a competitive streak. That's what keeps you sharp, always pushing to be the best. So, okay, we've got the mindset down. But how does that way of thinking actually translate into, doing something? Because let's be real, a vision without execution is just a daydream. This brings us to what you could call the entrepreneur's playbook, the actual steps they take to bring an idea screaming into reality. And you know what? The process is actually pretty logical when you lay it out. It all kicks off with spotting an opportunity that pretty much everyone else is missing. Then, and this is crucial, they turn that fuzzy idea into a solid plan. But they don't just jump in. They do a feasibility study to ask, hey, will this thing actually work? If the answer is yes, then they go out and get the resources, the money, the people, the tech. After all that, they set up the business and manage it. But it never really stops. The last step is always pushing for growth. It's a constant cycle.
Okay, but here's something that's super important to get. There is no single type of entrepreneur. They are not all cut from the same cloth. Not at all. They come from every background imaginable and take all sorts of different paths to build something great, as you're about to see.
So check this out. On one side, you've got your technical entrepreneur. This is the master craftsman, right? They're obsessed with the product itself, making it better, faster, higher quality. But on the other side, you've got the non-technical entrepreneur. This person is the master storyteller.
They're all about marketing, distribution, building the brand, and connecting with customers. And guess what? Both paths can lead to massive success. And it's not just about what your skills are, it's also about when you start. You've got the early starters, folks who jump right in, maybe out of school, with fresh eyes and tons of energy. Then you have the mature entrepreneurs. These are the seasoned pros who use decades of industry experience to their advantage. The big takeaway here? It's pretty inspiring, actually. That entrepreneurial spark can catch fire at any point in your life. So, if entrepreneurs can be so different, technical, non-technical, young, old, what holds them all together? Are there any universal truths? What are those core skills, the absolute non-negotiables that every single one of them needs to succeed?
All right, this is basically the secret sauce. First, persistence. And this doesn't just mean being stubborn. It means when you hit a wall, you find another way around. Then there's risk-taking, but it's not blind gambling. It's calculated. They look at the odds. They're also opportunity seekers. They act before they have to. Then you'd have commitment. And we're talking about making real personal sacrifices to see the job through. And finally, and this one is huge, they are masters of persuasion and networking. They know how to build the team and the connections to make it all happen.
And you know what powers all of those skills? It's this deep, constant, internal demand for excellence. It is a never-ending drive to find a way to do things better, faster, or cheaper. This obsession with efficiency and quality, that's the fuel for the innovation we talked about at the start. It's the engine that just never, ever stops. So when you boil it all down, what have we got? It's this. Entrepreneurs aren't just people who own businesses. They're the architects of our future. They're the ones who see what could be, and then they go out and actually build it. They're driven by this unique mindset to turn change itself into a golden opportunity. They create what's next. So the only question left to ask is, what will you create?